Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our ClaritySoft weekly webinar. Today is Tuesday, February 12th, and this week's webinar is on segmenting and searching your data in the database. We will be talking about different searching techniques that you can use within your ClaritySoft database. These are helpful for you to find information in your database. Also, when you're creating reports, it's helpful to know how to set up the different filters and searching techniques in your reports so that you can create your data filters there and get the right data out for your reports. So we'll look at these different ones here. We have the quick search option, global search, advanced search, which also feeds into creating views and saving views that you can create your filters and then save them so that you can very quickly and easily pick them from a drop-down list and not have to recreate the filter each time. And then this filtering actually is, in a sense, part of advanced search. So the difference here would be if you use this filter, you can't save it, but if you use the filter under advanced search, you can. So we'll look at that and talk about that. And then once you've done your searches, how can you use them in the database? You can search for a list of people and then in accounts, and then you can say, well, I want to see the associated contacts for these accounts by selecting the accounts and then viewing contacts. Or you can view all the activities for your accounts that you've selected. Or you can be in activities and filter for activities and view the contacts or the accounts for those activities. So there's a lot of ways that when you search one place, you can see the data in another module, which can help you easily move from place to place, but see the records that you want to see. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. This is my demo database, and we're looking at the accounts. And across the top here are different ways to see information. We have this quick search bar where you can type part of the name of an account in here to pull up the matching account names. This is our spyglass button, which gives us the different types of searches that we will be doing. This one here is a list of views or filters that have been saved. And once you've created those filters and you save them as a view, they become part of this drop-down list. And then, as I said, you can very quickly jump to one of these and it runs that saved filter for you and shows you the list. And then here, you may select your users. So if you have all accounts viewing here, but you want to see only your own records, then you can click in the filter here and then it will show you just your own records. Or you can see multiple records of people. So you could see maybe your sales team or something like that by clicking in multiple checkboxes here. And then it will pull them up so you can see them over here. So pay attention to that. Sometimes these things get turned on and you don't realize it, and then for some reason you're not seeing what you want to see. And then list all here will clear out a filter that you might set. Now we'll return to whatever these settings are here. So it won't go back 100%. It only goes back to what these settings are. So first of all, quick search here, as I said, very simple. You can type in part of a company name. You may not remember exactly how it's spelled. So you can simply start typing part of it. I'm typing in glob for global. All right. And you can see here that I get 3 results. I get Alliance Global Investors, Global Airways, and Global Chemical Unlimited. Notice that global or GLOB is not always at the beginning. So the set of characters that you type does not have to be at the beginning of an account name. It can be anywhere in the account name. And it just matching those characters, it will pull them up. If you were heading for Global Airways, you can open the account record and go from there to work with it. So it's a quick way to search for something. When you want to clear this out, you can click the X, and that will clear out your characters that you've typed and return you to your full list. Type in what you know, and you will get your result. Now, when you type, you don't have to do anything after you type. If I go back to, well, I don't even know that, I'm just typing HEA, and I haven't hit any other key. So what happens is the computer waits a second or two after you stop typing, and it automatically searches. You don't have to do anything. Now, if you press the Enter key, it does do it a little bit faster because it then knows, oh, well, you're done typing because you pressed Enter. You want to do the search. So either type and press Enter, or just wait a second or two and it will automatically find it. Sometimes I find people coming over here and trying to click on this to make it go, and you do not need to do that. The other search that you can do in the accounts quick search is you can search for a phone number, okay? So for example, if you wanted to find all the phone numbers that were 330 area code, you could type 330 followed by a hyphen if you have consistently formatted your phone numbers with hyphens. So it pulls up anything that matches that. If your phone numbers are in there inconsistently, some have parentheses, some have hyphens, some have dots, then this probably is not going to work for you. Now, if you put it in without a hyphen, then it's going to find where that 440 is anywhere in the number. So if you use the hyphens, then you can find things in pieces inside. For example, like that, it's going to find the 519 exchange because it's surrounded by the hyphens on either side. So again, depending on whether your phone numbers are very consistent or not, you can use that to search for phone numbers. So that's our quick search. All right, so let's move on to our spyglass button here and the different searches that we have under here. Now, what I usually recommend that you do before you start doing these different searches is to bring the fields that you want to search on into your columns, so that when you search and you get the result, you can see if your results make sense. Or you can perhaps also then see that you've got missing data in some of the columns where you might need to fill it in and make sure that all the records have the right data. So to do that, you come over here, click on your vertical ellipsis button and go to column settings. And then you want to grab those fields that you want to see, drag the ones you don't want to see to the left, and drop them. They'll get put back into alphabetical order the next time you come in here. So again, you may pull over whatever you want. This is an individual setting, so what you do here does not affect any of your other users. So you don't have to worry about it. It's what you need to see. And then down here, you get to choose how you're sorting your data. By default, it's sorting by the account name in the account module. So you can leave that there unless you want to sort by another field. And then the results per page, which is down here, is defaulted to 20 records per page, but you may set it to 50 or 100. I usually like to set it to the maximum just so I can scroll up and down more. And then I click apply, and you will now see the different columns here. So I can see that my status field is a little spotty. I don't have everybody marked as a customer or a prospect, so I have some work to do. I'm missing a city there. My sector is pretty good. Gets a little spotty down here. So I can see where I'm missing data. And that's why you want to put those things there, because if I search for customers, I'm not going to find all these blank people. There's nothing in there. So those are going to not come up in any search that I do unless I search for blanks. So you want to make sure that you get this information filled in. And sometimes you have to spend some time, or your sales team has to spend some time getting into the records and making sure they're all updated properly so that you're getting accurate searches. All right, so let's look here. Under here, we have advanced search, global search, a segment search, filter, and then views. Views are your list of views. I'm going to start with global search. What global search allows you to do is search across multiple modules. Now, this is a feature or function that needs to be turned on in your settings. So if you go to the Spyglass and you do not see global search, then it is currently not turned on for your database, but you can talk to your admin user if you are not the admin user. And then you can go to your settings and systems settings, and then you will find it in there and you can turn it on. So here you can choose what modules you want to search in. So if you're using leads, then you can search in the leads module, the accounts, and the contacts all at the same time. Purpose here is maybe you can't remember where the record is and you don't know if it's in leads or accounts. And so rather than go to two places, you can come here and begin to search in here. So again, if I type in part of a company name and then I just press enter or wait, do the same thing, is going to pull up matching records. And then here it's going to tell you what it is. It's a contact. So here it found Eric in Eric Schiffer. Here it found Eric in America. So that's an account. And it comes down and it tells you what it has found and where it is. Is it a lead? Here's some leads down here. Okay. So Frederick has Eric in it. There's an Eric. So it's looking for that set of characters that you've typed in a contact name or a company name. So again, the less you type, sometimes the better, because you get a wider range of results. Then it also is going to tell you the location of that record, or as far as the company goes, phone number, and who the owner is. So which person, on your team owns that record. And then you can see the details of the record. If you click on it, it opens it up and gives you the information about it, okay? And if you decide you want to go to that record, then you can simply click here and it will jump you to that record so you can view it. So it's a quick way to find something and then go to it if you need to. Another way this is very helpful is if your particular database is set up where the sales team, their access profile is individual, so that when they log in, they see only their own records. They cannot see anyone else's records. The global search allows them to see if there are records in the database with a particular name that they cannot see normally. So that's a real helpful one, because maybe someone gets a new lead and they're not sure if that company is already in the database, either as a lead or already as an account or customer. And so there's no way for that person to know other than to use the global search. And if they use the global search, they find it. If they find the company, then they can see who the record owner is and know which sales rep is representing or connected to that record. And then they can talk to that person and see what they can work out on it. So that's global search. Filter, I'll jump to next, and then filter also exists under advanced search. So filter gives you the ability to search again on any field that's in your account record, both custom and standard. This is one thing to note. When you do a filter and you get this drop-down list of all your fields, they are in alphabetical order, but all the ClaritySoft standard fields are listed first in alphabetical order. Then there's a little dividing line, and then all of your custom fields are down below. So sometimes people don't scroll down far enough and they can't find their custom fields. So just be aware that your custom fields will be down below this little divider line, and then you can find it. So for example, I want to do status, which is going to tell me whether they're a prospect or a customer. And I can say equals, not equal, greater than, contains, not contains, so on and so forth. Equal, if you use equal, you have to be exact. Now in this instance, it's okay because I do get my drop-down list here. Sometimes you don't get the drop-down list and you can't remember how things are spelled. And if you're not sure, then choose contains, and then you can type what you know it contains, okay? In this case, I'm good. So if I want to find all of my prospects, then I can choose the status is equal to prospect. Now maybe I want to add to that prospects in a particular state. So I can click the plus sign and then say, and I want the state, and here I have to type a value. So I would be better off choosing contains and then say OH rather than equals OH. And the reason for that is maybe in some of my state fields, somebody typed the full word of Ohio, OHIO, rather than just OH. If I say it equals OH, I'm not going to find those. Whereas if I say contains OH, I will find them. So when I click apply, I get 2 that are prospects in Ohio. So the filter is there. Now when you run this filter, down here at the bottom, you're going to see the filter that you created, and you can clear it from down here, or you can clear it by clicking the list all button up here at the top. And it takes you back to your full list. So that's one there. Now let's go to advanced search because this gives you the most capabilities. You have 4 different filter types. You've got a form filter, which is simply type something in one of the fields for criteria. You have the standard filter, which we just did. You have a time-based filter, and you have a product filter. Plus, when you create this advanced search, you will have the option to save it as a view. So if you think that you're going to save it, then you want to use advanced search. It gives you everything all under one tab here, and then you can create whatever kind of filter you want. So with your form filter, here's your status field. So I could choose prospects, and then I could come over here and I could put in OH for Ohio. This is the same thing I just did in the standard filter. And then I could click search. So I get my same 2 people. Now notice up here it has in red advanced search view, and I have 3 buttons. Edit the view means I could edit the search, save the view, or clear it or cancel it. So if I wanted to just save it, I can click here, and then I could put prospects in Ohio or Ohio prospects, whatever I want to call it, and then save it. Now, notice that view has been added to this drop-down list. So I now can go back to all accounts, which returns me to all of them. And then I can say, well, who are my prospects in Ohio? And I can just choose them, and I'm right back to Ohio. Now, what if I add another Ohio prospect? Will it find it? Yes, it will, because this is a filter. So here is one right here, ABC Consultancy. It does not have a status. So let's open that record and let's set the status to prospect, save and close, and go back to my view, prospects in Ohio, bingo, there it is. So even though I might call it a list or something, it is really a filter. And so whenever you run the filter, it's looking through the database and finding anything that matches the criteria. So once you create these, they're here, and whenever you run them, it pulls up the records that match. So for example, I have one here for Ohio manufacturers. This is looking for people in the manufacturing sector that are in Ohio. This was set up before, so there we go. Everybody's in the manufacturing sector. Doesn't matter if they're a customer or a prospect, and they're all in the state of Ohio. So you can see I didn't have to go build that again. I built that probably on a previous webinar and saved it, and I have it, and it's there. So use this to create your views and save your views. And you can create any kind of view that you want and save it. Then when you create the views, how does one manage the views? You go here to your Spyglass button and you go to views. Then you will see a list of all the views that you have created. So here's my prospects in Ohio. If I wanted to change its name, I could click on rename. So maybe it would be easier, I think, visually to do that. I can also edit the filter for it. I can clone it, which means I can make a copy of it, and then I could give it a different name and maybe change the filter, especially if it was one that was somewhat complex. I can delete it if I no longer want it, and then the more important one here is I can share it. So if I know there are other people on my team that also would want to know who the people are in Ohio as far as prospects, I can come here and I can select them. I can either select them all, or I can just pick the ones that I know would need it and apply. And then the next time they log out, log back in, when they go to the views here, they will see Ohio prospects and can pick it. Very quick, very easy. All the modules have this capability where you can use the advanced search and then create those filters and save them. Now, I want to show you one that includes a time-based filter. Let me go to opportunities. So in opportunities, I have my list, and again, there are certain views already up here to see. Some of these are ones that come with ClaritySoft, and some are ones I probably created in another webinar, but I'm looking at all opportunities right now. Again, set up your columns with the data that you want to see and search on. And what I want to do is I want to find all my opportunities that have a close date of the next 3 months. I want to see what's coming up in the next 3 months. So I'm going to go to Spyglass, Advanced Search, and this time I'm going to go to the Time Filter tab. And when you're here, you will be picking a date field. So depending on what dates you have, you might have some of your own custom date fields. You can choose those. You can choose any date field. So I'm going to use the close date. And then you can see you have different options here. If you haven't played with the time filters, I highly recommend that you do, because it's very exciting to see how these work and how they pull things up. And then especially in reports, they roll forward with you. so that if you are looking for all of your opportunities that have a close date of this month right now is February. Well, as soon as it becomes March 1st, then this month is now March and February is last month. So you could have one filter that's looking at all the close dates of this month, and you could have another one that's looking at all the close dates of last month. And then those will move forward with you as you go from month to month, and you never have to come in and change the dates. So I want to create one that is the next 3, and you've got days, weeks, months, quarters, years. So I want the next 3 months, that the close date is in the next 3 months. That will be March, April, and May. So we'll click search, and here we go. So if I look at my close date, I'll click here, March, April, and May. So it found the close date of the next 3 months. So again, I want to save this next 3 months. So I now have that saved, and I can choose it at any time. So I can go back to all opportunities, and then I can go to my close date of next 3 months. And as long as I'm updating my close dates in my opportunities, then this search is going to be accurate. So this close date is something that everyone needs to pay attention to and make sure that's as accurate as possible, because then that gives you a sense of what is coming in the next 3 months. And with any search that you do, you have your amount field listed here, but down at the bottom, it's always going to give you the total of this amount field for whatever filter you have going. So that always shows at the bottom for you. If I go back to all opportunities, then you can see the value at the bottom changes, because I'm now looking at 215 opportunities. So you can see that you can use that combination of putting something in the standard filter or the form filter, and then also the time filter. So you can have one criteria on your standard, your form filter screen. You can have something else in the standard filter, and you can then have a time frame on your time filter. So those all combine together to create the criteria that you're searching on. So again, experiment. And these are the things too, like I said at the beginning, that once you create these filters and they're all working, you can then create the same filters when you're generating reports. And that's how you can check the accuracy of your reports, because you can run the filter in your opportunities first, then go build your report and see if the numbers you get in your report match what you have here. So for your totals. So that is a way of double checking yourself when you are creating and running reports in the database. So we've covered that. The next thing is, how do you use these searches? Let's say here, I want to find all activities where the subject contains the word follow-up for follow-up call. So I'm just going to put follow. And the activity or activity type is a call. And then the time filter is going to be, we'll go with start date. I'm just going to put last 1 quarter. Okay, which will kick me backwards to last year pretty much. Let's see what we get. Okay, I got 22 activities. So these are activities that are a call where the subject line contains the word follow, and the start date was the last 1 quarter. So it should be October, November, December of last year. Maybe not the most useful search, but it worked. Okay, and again, I could save it if I want to. Now, the thing I can do with this, I can select all of these and then go to List Actions. And you can see here, I can view accounts or I can view contacts. So maybe I want to contact these people because it was last quarter that I actually did some sort of a follow-up call with them, okay? So I can say View Contacts. And then it'll say all records marked as checked or all filtered records. Down here is where you make that decision. If the number of results per page is greater than the number of total records being viewed, then you can choose all selected records marked as checked. If it is this number is 122 and that's 100, then you have to do all filtered records. So I apply this and now it takes me to contacts and I have all of the people that those activities were for, and I could select them, and then I could do a list actions, email contacts, and do it for all records marked as checked. It brings up an email, and then I could type an email and say, hello, and then insert fields, first name, type my email. It's been great. We haven't heard from you for a while. And then once I'm done, put in a subject line up here. I'll just put hello. And then when I'm finished, click send, off, I've done it. So I've done a way to search for all the activities and then find the contacts associated with those activities and then send them an email. So search in activities, select them, view list actions, view the contacts. In contacts, select the contacts, list actions, email the contacts. So I just did a real quick way to catch up with some people by doing that type of search. So when you're doing your searches now, then you can view different things. So for example, if I wanted to do Ohio manufacturers, so all the manufacturers in Ohio, let's say I wanted to email them. I have a new product they might be interested in or something like that. Or we're doing a trade show and we want to let them know. So I select all the accounts, list actions, view contacts. Notice I can also go view the activities. So I want to do the contacts. I only have 8, so I can do the records marked as checked. Here are all the contacts. Select them. Email. So again, you can see now that there is some use to these filters, not just looking things up. You can go do things with the filters once you've run them, because you can jump from one place to another. It becomes helpful in, especially, maybe in the accounts module where you might have a category type field like manufacturing, but you don't have that same field in your contact record. So you can find all your manufacturers at the account level and then select them and go to your contact level. Or vice versa. You can search in the contacts, and then once you search in the contacts, I click list all here to get rid of that filter that came from accounts. Here I have a field for communications list, and I could create very quickly an email list for promotional type emails that will filter out the people. There's 25 of them. Save it. And I then have that list. I could then filter for holiday, filter for newsletter, and I would have my 3 email lists. So very quickly, all contacts and promotional email list, select list actions, email. Another thing, this is a really important one. Back here at accounts, I click list all. Notice it didn't do anything. it went back to list all for Ohio manufacturers. So again, pay attention to that. If you click list all and you don't get your 10,000 records back, look here is you probably have a view turned on. So I need to go back to all accounts. And then my gaps here. So let's say I want to figure out who my customers and prospects are. And so I could do a quick search and go to standard filter, choose status, and then I would say I want all the ones that are empty. So I have 202 accounts that have no status filled in. So I'm just going to randomly go down through here. Obviously, you would do this in a more, I guess, logical manner. Oh, I'm doing it logically. It's just you would know your customers, who the prospects and the customers are. But let's just say this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one are all prospects. So I can select them. I go to List Actions, Group Edit. The records marked as checked. I don't want the filtered ones or I'll make all 202 of them change. And I want to choose Status and then Prospect and Apply. So what's great about this is all those selected records are updated. Now, notice you probably saw a little collapse in here. They, quote, disappeared. They didn't disappear. The reason they dropped off this list is my rule is that this field is blank, okay, or is empty. So those fields are no longer empty anymore, so they went away because the filter is forcing them to go away. So what you would continue to do here is you would keep checking things off, like maybe these guys are customers. So now I would go to List Actions, Group Edit, and Status, and make them customers, okay? So again, you'll see a little flash of things kind of disappearing, but if I turn off the filter now, then everything comes back. I still have records that don't have it filled in, but then the ones that I did are here. So just be aware of that when you do a group edit. If you've done a filter to search for fields that are empty, when you do a group edit and fill them in, they no longer fit the filter. And so they will, quote, disappear. All right, but you have updated them. Now, what you could do is, if you didn't trust yourself, this should work because you edited the records. You should be able to bring the last edit date over. Let's put it by status. And if I click here, see all the ones for 212? Those are all the ones that I just edited. So you can check yourself that you did an edit. So that's a way to check. So that's about all I needed to cover today. My thing is get in there and play with these, setting up these filters and saving the views to make it more efficient for you to work in the database. And then look at your list actions and see what you can do. And the other one I didn't mention is exporting to Excel. You can select records and then you can export out to Excel. Thank you for your attention today. Hopefully you've learned some little tricks. If you need help with anything or have any questions on anything as you're working in your database, please call the support line here at 888-838-7487, extension 2, or you may email them at support@claritysoft.com. And with that, we'll say goodbye, and everyone go and have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you next week for next week's webinar.